Doesn't it feel good when you have found the man who truly loves and cherishes you? Everything in the world is a little bit brighter. Well, this can happen to you, especially when you have the skills to choose the best man for you. Order your copy of the new book, Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you, today on Amazon. Welcome, everyone, to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anita Stoudemire, and I'm a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It's my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are back again this week with another podcast episode. You are tuned in to the Better Love Movement podcast. I am your host, Anita Stoudemire, resident licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I am your personal guide back to your femininity, ladies, and also to having the happy, healthy relationship you have always wanted. So thank you so much for joining me. This week, we are in episode 120, and it is entitled, How to Tell If Your Man is Emotionally Mature. So, I want to share with you just a small little tidbit from my new book, Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you. In my book, I discuss a chapter called The 10 Most Underrated Qualities in a Man. And I gave a bonus quality, and that bonus quality was maturity. So I'm going to read a little bit from my book all about this bonus quality that you should be looking for in a man. It's maturity. So here goes. This is actually one of my favorite, most underrated traits in a healthy masculine man. Maturity is absolutely necessary to have a happy, long-term relationship and marriage. Marriage is for adults, and I see lots of people who are acting like they are 9 and 11 years old getting into relationships or getting married. They are not emotionally ready to provide all that is necessary to be in a loving relationship. Emotional maturity means you can delay gratification. It means you are able to put another's wants and needs ahead of your own. It means that you can be the bigger person sometimes, heck, most of the time. Emotionally mature people stay when it's hard to do so. They avoid shutting down, or at least they can tell you when they are flooded with too many emotions and need a break. They don't do the silent treatment. An emotionally mature man can regulate his emotions and uses words to express how he feels. He won't feel the need to resort to name-calling or abusive words when arguing. He will make himself vulnerable at times just to get closer to you. He doesn't need the outside opinions of others to give him his identity. He knows who he is. This man isn't afraid of doing the work. He welcomes change and wants to grow. He doesn't run from responsibility. He will sacrifice for the ones he loves. He puts his ego in check when necessary. He will respect your healthy boundaries and ask questions to gain a better understanding of them. This quality can be found in a man who is 25 or a man who is 55. It's something that has to be worked for and embraced. I believe it's a decision that some men make to grow up. Make sure the man you choose is mature. So that's just a brief snippet from that particular chapter, but it's laying the groundwork on how important maturity is for a happy, healthy, loving relationship. It is super important that your man be mature. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few signs that you will be able to determine, that this man is a mature, healthy man. All right. Number one, I believe empathy, the ability to be empathetic, is a super important sign that your man is mature. He should be able to be compassionate. He should be able to put himself in your shoes to try to really understand how you're feeling, right? He should have a measure of empathy. And we all know that people who lack empathy, they have narcissistic tendency. That's actually one of the first signs that a person is not emotionally mature and may have narcissistic tendency, is they truly lack empathy. They can't put themselves in the place of others. They can't truly understand other people's pains or other people's problems. And so I believe that a man who is emotionally mature, he's naturally empathetic. He can put himself in another person's shoes. He's compassionate with others. He offers, to help when he can. He's going to truly try to understand like what you're feeling and what you're going through. Okay. Second, I believe that a mature man is humble, that he is able to admit when he is wrong, that he's able to apologize, that he's able to say he's sorry. He's able to admit when he's made a mistake. Because a mature man, he realizes that, all of who he is not defined by, his slip-ups or his mistakes. Like that doesn't take him out, when he realizes, oh, I made a mistake, or I might have done something wrong, or had a misstep. Like, he doesn't feel derailed by that, because he understands that that's not, the only way of determining his worth and value, is just, oh, I made a mistake, so I must be bad, No, he understands that, what? We're all making mistakes. None of us are perfect. We're all growing. And so he's open to admitting that. He's open to admitting when he's wrong, when he's made a mistake. He's humble. That's a huge, huge quality. I don't see that enough in people today. Okay. Another one is he is capable of forgiving. He is capable of letting things go. And I want you to really pay attention to how he is with other people when it comes to this. If he is able to let things go with his friends, with his family, people at work, old exes, or, maybe his ex-wife or mother of his children, is he capable of forgiveness? Is he capable of being able to let things go? Is he capable of forgiving himself? Right? Does he beat himself up a lot about mistakes that he's made or things that he's done? But being able to forgive, that is a truly mature quality in a man. And you're going to need some of that forgiveness. So that's why it's super important that you be able to see if he's capable of forgiving. Because if you meet a man and he's telling you about all the grudges he's holding, or all the people who's done him wrong, and he's never going to forgive them, beware. Because one day you're going to need his forgiveness and you're not going to get it. And remember, marriage and long-term relationships is nothing but a bunch of forgiving over and over and over. We have to be willing to forgive. So that's another trait. Here's another one. I believe that emotionally mature men have healthy boundaries. They are able to say no, right? You all know how I feel about the Mr. Nice Guy, the guy who, has no boundaries. He can't tell people no. He's, acquiescing and, fawning, telling people what they want to hear, trying to make sure everyone is happy, being a people pleaser. To me, that is a sign of a man who is emotionally immature, when he can't stand up for himself. A grown man who understands this, he stands up for himself, and he recognizes everyone's not going to like me. I can't make everyone happy, and I'm okay with that. I can prioritize. To me, the emotionally mature man, he prioritizes who he's seeking to make happy. So he knows he can't make everyone happy, but he's going to do it in order of priority. So he'd much rather make his wife happy over his friends or over his family members, and sometimes we have to make that choice. But you know what? I need to focus on making sure my wife is good. And so, yeah, emotionally mature men, they know how to do that. They have healthy boundaries. And guess what? Emotionally mature men will have healthy boundaries with you, ladies. They'll have to tell you no. So that's going to test your level of emotional maturity, is how do you accept when your man tells you no? So, yeah, but he stands up for himself. He knows what's right for him, what's wrong for him, and he stands on that. And he recognizes everyone may not like it, and that's okay for him. Okay, another one is, and this is a big one. This one is so rare. Like it's rare I see this quality in emotionally mature men. But another one is he's able to express his emotions in a healthy way. And not just like the anger emotion, the frustration emotion, but he's even able to express sadness, hurt, fear, some really difficult emotions for men to figure out how to express. But an emotionally mature man will work it out. Like he will figure it out. He's like, you know what? I'm going to identify this feeling going on inside of me, and I'm going to use words to express it. Some of the men that I have dated who were incredibly emotionally mature, even if they did not have the skill to verbalize it, they were wonderful writers. Oh, and that just, let me tell you all, if you want to know my kryptonite, my weakness, it's a man who can write. That is my weakness. So, yeah, a man who can write is so attractive. But even if he's willing to like write you a letter, or if he's willing to write you a note and kind of express how he's feeling, that is my kryptonite. So if he's in a position where, something's happened and he's feeling really hurt or sad by it, even if he can't express it with words, he's going to find another way to express himself. But he expresses his emotions in a healthy way. So he's not tantruming. He's not hitting things, breaking things, punching things. That is a man actually more on his feminine side. When a man falls over on the more aggressive side of himself, he's actually in his feminine, not his masculine. When he's completely out of control, screaming, yelling, fighting, cursing, he is in that feeling side of himself, which is ruled by the feminine. The masculine side of himself is actually the more stoic, rational, calm part of himself. So a healthy masculine, he's going to know how to fall into that masculine space where he's cool, calm, and collected. That's a mature man. A mature man doesn't have to respond to everything and everybody, right? So he's not going to make it a point to go back and forth with a lot of people. He's not going to respond to everything. He's not even going to respond to everything you're saying. He's going to say, you know what? This is how I feel about it. I've expressed myself to the best of my knowledge. I don't have anything else to share. Like, this is how I feel about it. And you're entitled to tell me, how you feel about that. But he's not going to go back and forth with you. And a lot of women don't understand that when a man kind of lets a woman know, okay, we're not going to go back and forth. This is what I'm going to do, or this is how I feel about it. That is an emotionally mature man. That is a man who is deeply, on his masculine side. And so he's not going to go tit for tat or, back and forth. That leads me into my next. Okay. So my next one is he's not going to feel the need to go tit for tat. And men who, you say this and then they rebut with this, or their woman comes to them about a complaint, and then he comes back with another complaint, those guys, I see that a lot. I see that a lot. And it's like we can't get anywhere because instead of just she's volleying the ball over to him. Instead of him holding it, he's just volleying it back. And then they just keep doing that. But an emotionally mature man, he's going to listen. He's going to go, really? Okay, tell me more about that. And he's just going to, own it in that moment. And when it's his turn to speak, now he may speak about something that's also concerning him. But he's not going to do this tit for tat. So, I don't like it when you tell your friends about our personal, business in the house. Well, you tell your friends about our personal business in the house too. See, you're going to hear a lot of that back and forth, tit for tat. And you do that too. And you go there too. So again, an emotionally mature man, he's going to be able to listen and try to understand. He's going to absorb it. And then when it's his turn, he may give a complaint or criticism of his own, but he's not just that's not going to be his rebuttal to your saying, this is something I'm unhappy about, or this is something I have issue with. He's just not going to then immediately go, well, you do that too, not do that tit for tat. No, he's going to be able to absorb what you're saying, mull it over, and then he'll add, his concerns or his issues at some point. But that whole just volleying back and forth, going tit for tat, no. Most emotionally mature men are not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. Let me see if I have any others for you. One of the things I will say is men who are truly emotionally mature, they're going to listen, and they may take more time to process. And this is very frustrating for women. So the way men's brains work is they have to hear a complaint or an issue or a problem. They'll immediately try to go into Mr. Fix-It mode, but then sometimes they actually are very slow to respond. And it's because they really need to process what they're hearing. And that's a good thing. That's actually a sign of emotional maturity, that he's not so quick to just jump right back and give you an answer. He's taking time to process what it is you're saying. And sometimes it doesn't even happen within the conversation that you're in. He may say, you know what? I just need more time to kind of process what you told me. Can I have a little time to think about it and get back to you? And so, ladies, I want you to give him that time. But remember, you're going to ask for an appointment. You're going to ask him, okay, I'm happy to do that. When can I get back with you? And you're going to ask for a day and a time, and you're going to stick to it. So if he says, well, later tonight when we get home. Okay, what time later tonight? I don't know, like 7 o'clock after dinner. Okay, great. So at 7 o'clock after dinner, I'd like for us to pick this conversation back up. And then you're going to do it. But you're going to leave him alone because he needs time to process. And so allow that to happen. And then I want you to come back at the designated day and time and talk to him more about it. And no, he can't make it weeks and days and months from now. It has to be within 24 hours. But that's a good thing. If he needs time to process what you all are talking about, that's actually a really good thing. Because, that's how men work. They really need to think deeply about what was said, and, they really need to understand what was said, and take their time in processing it. But that's a good sign. That's a sign of an emotionally mature partner. So I hope some of these tips were very helpful for you. But please remember, you want to find a man who is emotionally mature. You want to find a man who is grown up, who's done some level of work. I want to believe that with age comes maturity, but in all honesty, I've been seeing lately that that's not true. I know people my age and older that are doing silly things, that are acting incredibly petty, and being very emotionally immature. And that's sad to me because you've lived 50 plus years and it's like you haven't really learned anything. You haven't really grown up, Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm proud of these years that I've put in, and I want my behavior to show it. But, I've seen some 25-year-old men who were incredibly mature. And I've seen some, 55, 65-year-old men who were mature. And then I've seen, everything in between that was mature or immature. So these are just some tips for you to look for, to make sure that this person is emotionally mature. Now remember, none of us are completely healed or completely perfect or completely arrived. The person should be working in all these areas, right? So I find a lot of men, great men, who are not great at expressing their emotions. And so what I want to find out is, are you willing to work on that? Are you willing to do that work necessary to use words to express your emotions? And not just anger, but the sadness, the fear, the hurt. That's really my question. Is that something he's willing to work on? Same with the forgiveness. Are you willing to work on forgiving? Are you willing to work on letting things go? Same with boundaries. Now, I have a low tolerance for men who have no boundaries. So for me, if I see that coming, it's a red flag. I just leave it, because I have a very low tolerance for that. But if you don't, and you're like, okay, I want him to work on being able to say no, getting stronger, standing up for himself, you may have more patience for that than I do, but he should be working on that. He really, really should. And if you're seeing where, he's a pushover, everybody's getting over on him, you're getting over on him. And I tell a lot of men this, that while you're seeking to please the woman you're with, you're seeking to give her everything her heart desires and be all things to her, one, you're not going to be able to maintain that. So eventually you're going to fall off. She's going to get mad. She's going to wonder, oh, well, you were doing this in the beginning and you're not doing it now. I mean, either way, you're going to have problems. And then two, quite frankly, you're going to lose her respect. So I have zero tolerance for men with no boundaries. The Mr. Nice Guy. That's just, that doesn't work for me. But there are a lot of the things that I spoke of that, again, it could be a work in progress. And that's really what you want to know. Is this man willing to grow? He has to be willing to grow. Some men will get to a certain age and it's like they're stuck. They're stuck. They feel like, I can't grow anymore. I can't learn anything new. Beware of those men. Beware of those men because, again, what you see is what you get. So you got to really make sure that what you're seeing on that given day, you can live with for the rest of your life. But there are people out there like that they're afraid of growing, afraid of changing, afraid of anything new. And you really got to vet them properly. Because if they're not going to change 1 inch, you have to make sure that what you're getting on this day is what you can live with for the rest of your life. Okay? I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. If you have not picked up a copy of Choose Well, A Simple Formula to Determine the Best Man for You, please head on over to Amazon right now. Please pick up a copy of the book. If you have picked up a copy of the book, if you have read it, do me the biggest favor ever and leave a review on Amazon. Reviews on Amazon help authors so much. They help lead new people to our work. It is so important that you leave a review. I so appreciate each and every one of you. Lovelies, have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, stay open to love. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. Your ratings and reviews help me to continue to bring you more great content. Head on over to YouTube and check out the Better Love Movement channel. There's more video content there, and you can subscribe to be notified when a new video is posted. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on the podcast or in a YouTube video, please send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also connect with me directly on the Magnify app to have your dating and relationship questions answered. That's Magnifi, and it's available on iOS and Android. You get your first 5 minutes for free. So give me a call and let's chat.